Use process mapping tools and software. Learning objectives. After completing this unit, you'll be able to identify business process mapping tools and software. Describe the steps for creating a simple process map. Understand best practices for process mapping. Business process mapping, tools and software. If you are relatively new to process mapping, it makes sense to create your process maps without any specialized software or extra expense for your company. Once you are more comfortable with creating process maps, you may consider purchasing process mapping software, depending on your long-term needs and the size of your business. You need to first identify what features are critical before deciding on which software or tool is right for you and your company. While we won't recommend specific software, let's take a look at a short list we found to be helpful when you are getting started. Drag and drop interface. This is great if you need a quick setup of your process map without spending a lot of time learning how to get started. Formatting capabilities. As you saw in the previous unit, there is a language to process mapping. Software with formatting capabilities makes things easier. Security and versioning. Processes are a valuable asset, so you need control of who can change them and have version control. Publishing and sharing capabilities. These are helpful if you need to share your mapping across several different parts of the business or with different stakeholders. A web-based software tool is ideal for sharing and publishing as well, because it makes that process easier. Intuitive design. This type of instinctive design for the software you pick is ideal, especially if you do not have a lot of experience with process mapping. Business process mapping steps. Ready to get started? Here are the main high-level steps in crafting a process map. Identify the process you need to map. Decide where you want to start. Maybe a process is underperforming, or a process directly impacts a customer. Either way, decide which process you need to start with. Give it a name and get after it. Create a winning team. Identify who needs to be on the team. Everyone's input is necessary. Therefore, take a moment and make sure that the team is the right team for the process. The right team should include members who manage the process and can provide input about the process. Gather all necessary information. Some questions you need to answer here would be, where does the process begin and end? What steps need to be taken between the beginning and the end? What are the inputs and outputs of the process? Who needs to do what and when do they need to do it? Develop the process map. Focus on the order of the steps from beginning to end, and then draw your process map. Analyze the process map. Once you have a map to review, scrutinize the process map to identify inefficiencies and bottlenecks within the processes. Ask yourself, where can you make improvements, or what steps can be removed? Develop new, better steps. Begin by implementing any improvements to the process on a small scale to start. If you see improvements, try scaling to reach a broader audience. Manage the process. Monitor the new and improved process to see how it is functioning and whether it needs further optimization. Best practices of process mapping. There isn't one right way to create a process map. Every situation and business is different. Here are some best practices for you to consider when creating a process map for your organization. Apply business process mapping to the right types of processes. Processes that reflect how decisions are made may not be the best processes to map because they are limited in steps and may not offer the most impact for your time. Don't forget to document everything along the way. The process is important, but so is how you got there. Be clear about the focus of your process mapping. Before you identify the process steps, start with identifying the start and end points to help limit your project and map. Sometimes the inefficiencies in your processes are outside of the process itself. It then becomes critical that you review any intersecting, secondary processes as well. Get someone skilled to map your processes. Consider outside help if you do not have someone currently trained in mapping. Validate your maps. Right after you draw them, review them with the stakeholders so that you ensure they are correct. Don't fix your processes until they are fully mapped. Define your as-is state completely. This way, you see the whole picture, and then changes are better informed. Build the right team. The people who use the processes are the experts. It's critical that you listen to them as they have an appropriate overview, because some people may be too close to change the processes. They will be your best resource for whether the process will work or not.
Keep it simple. Make your process maps as easy and simple as possible to read and understand by anyone in your company. If everyone understands the process, it will be easier for everyone to follow, but also to give feedback if something is wrong or needs to be adjusted. If possible, use business process mapping software to collaborate in real time. Work with your stakeholders. Include all the key stakeholders as soon as possible when mapping the process to avoid missing out on important information or steps. Process mapping creates visual representations of business processes. As a business analyst, this can be a crucial tool to help streamline processes and align business units. Now that you know what process maps are and how to start building them, it's time to start creating process maps for your company.